Guten Tag, Stephanie.
Guten Tag, Michael.
We'll together download Python and various Python packages useful for geographic information sciences or hydrological analysis. Sound all right?
Yes, sounds okay. Think I'll learn as I move.
Me as well. Let's go to a browser and search for Python.
Okay, so I have Chrome. That's okay.
Perfect.
So what am I supposed to search?
Python. Python. The name of a snake, as well as the name of a programming language.
Okay. So why are we using Python?
Python is the scripting language, programming language, that the hydrological model, the community water model, or cwatm is written in. We use Python to run the community water model. Python is also a language that is widely popular now, and relatively easy to read compared to other languages. Perhaps one of the reasons it's become so popular.
Okay. So I'm in Python. Which one should I go to?
This first web page is good. Welcome to python.org.
Okay. So question. So the first thing is to get the software, Python.
Yeah, to get
That's
the capacity, to run programs written in Python.
Okay.
If you go to downloads, just click
Okay.
downloads. We can download the most recent release, in this case, Python 3.11.4.
Okay. So click in download. I think it's finished. Could you see on my download? I just clicked the file.
Just click the file, should be fine. Great. Before we click install now, can we click the checkbox at the bottom that says add python.exe to path?
Okay. Is this compulsory or it's
It will allow us to simply, as you'll see later, in a command prompt, just type in Python. If we didn't click this, then we would have to actually find the location of Python on the computer, type in this whole path, and then type in python.exe. This sort of makes it easier to activate Python or to run Python programs.
Okay. So I've clicked it, so I go to install now.
Exactly. And should we have not clicked this checkbox, we could always deal with this at a later point.
Are we trusting this to change?
I can't see your screen, but I guess it is asking you to change things. I guess we can trust.
So okay, it's asking, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your devices? Yes. So do you need like a different type of computer for this work, or it works in any?
Python specifically should work on most computers. We'll download a different version of Python if we're on different operating systems. You'll see on this previous page it recognized that you were using a Windows computer, so it offered the Python version for Windows.
Okay.
It'll also be different for different chip architectures within a computer, but the Python website is somehow recognizing the architecture that you're using.
Okay.
But it should work on most computers. For example, if you want to download Python on your Android device, I'm not sure it's so simple. I've not yet tried.
And for the Mac has a Mac and...
Yeah, there's a special version of Python for all of them. For Linux, for Mac, for the new M1, M2 Mac chip architecture, as well as Windows, with the different architectures.
Okay. So is it really intimidating for someone who's not used Python before?
We'll go through it step by step, and if there's anything intimidating, we walk through it and see how we can make it a more relaxed experience. But generally, we'll walk through it step by step. It need not be terrifying. It can be more exciting or empowering.
Roger that.
Roger.
And with this, you have to have at least internet.
At least internet.
Does this interrupt your work or something of the sort? So one has to make sure at least the internet is stable, or I don't know, I'm asking just because no idea.
Yeah, I guess if the internet's not stable, perhaps the installation process will become interrupted or stop, and we'll have to start again. If one doesn't have a internet connection, I guess an opportunity is also to find this on a USB stick to install Python.
Oh, okay. The old ways of how we used to install things.
Floppy disk, CD-ROM, USB stick. Now just download from the internet.
Okay, so I close.
Let's make sure Python installed correctly. If we go into this type here to search in the bottom left of your screen, you can type in the word command. And you see here a command prompt. Let's open this up. This is also called a terminal. Let's type in Python, Python. Enter. We have opened up a Python environment. It says here Python 3.11.4. That's the version we just downloaded. Let's type in, for example, 2 plus 3.
2 plus 3.
Enter. Great. Python can work as a calculator. We are going to now type in exit, EXIT, and round bracket, open, round bracket, close.
And then another close round bracket.
Yeah, and then enter. Great. Before we install any more packages, we're going to install something called a virtual environment wrapper. Sometimes different programs will depend on different packages, different Python packages to run. So that we don't interrupt different Python programs, we can create a virtual environment and install the specific packages we need for our program in this virtual environment.
Mikhail, question. When you say Python packages, just what exactly is that?
Yeah, we'll download Python packages called like NumPy or SciPy. They give us access to different mathematical functions or algorithms or working with certain kinds of files, like netCDF files.
Okay.
If we go to a browser again, let's search for...
Okay.
Let's search for virtual space environment.
Space environment.
And then space Windows.
Sorry. Virtual space environment.
Perfect. Windows.
Windows.
And wrapper.
And like wrapper. WR.
A PPER.
Okay.
Let's search this and see what comes up. Perfect. The first hit we want. This virtual env wrapper -win.
Okay. So this is the virtual environment.
This is the package that we'll download that will allow us to create virtual environments.
Okay.
If you copy the symbol beside, perfect, this copy to clipboard, take this with us, copy it. Let's go back to the command prompt, the black box. And let's paste that in here. We can also right-click on the mouse, or perfect. And if we push enter, we'll become quite familiar with this command.
Okay.
So when we're downloading different packages, the command will be pip install and then the name of the package we're going to install.
So pip is the a virtual package program. Install is like the command itself, or
Yeah,
pip.
virtual env-wrapper-win, this is the name of the package we're installing. And then pip install is the command that lets the terminal know we're looking for this package within Python and to install it.
Okay.
Okay, we've installed our first package. Let us create a virtual environment. We'll only use this command once. The command is, if we type in the command prompt, mk
MK
virtual,
together.
yes, and then env.
ENV
Great, and then space,
space.
and then the name of our virtual environment. We can call it anything, but since we're interested in using the community water model, let's call it cwatm.
C.
WATM. But this can hold any name as long as we keep it in memory.
Okay.
And enter.
So we see what M is the name of a virtual environment.
Exactly. We could have called it Stephanie. We can call it a particular project name. Now we're just calling it after the model that we'll use in subsequent meetings.
Okay.
Okay, so I created a folder that will hold all the virtual environments and created the virtual environment called cwatm. We see in the bottom left of the command prompt in round brackets cwatm. This means that we have, or we are in the virtual environment. Now any package we install here will be installed into our virtual environment. Let's install a useful package called NumPy. Let's do pip space install.
After the install, should I put space?
After the install, after pip and after install, we put a space.
Okay.
Oh,
Install.
so after the pip, we'll also put a space.
Okay. So it's pip space
Install space NUM
NUM
py NumPy. This allows us to work, and then we can push enter.
Question. So
Yes.
these are now part of the Python packages you're talking about.
Yes, NumPy is a Python package. It gives us access to working or facilitating working with multi-dimensional arrays and different mathematical functions.
So the first step is to have a virtual environment that can hold these different Python packages in our virtual environment, which in this case is cwatm.
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect.
Let's download another package called SciPy.
So it will be pip, the same.
Perfect.
Install.
And then SCI
py.
Perfect, and then enter.
They do have funny names. Nimpy, Skippy.
They try to always end in py if it's a Python package. SciPy will give us access to different formula like interpolation. Sometimes when we're working with climate data, it is of lower resolution than the models we're playing with. Interpolation allows us to smooth the climate data to make coarser resolution climate data somehow artificially finer.
And question, because for someone who's still learning Python and all this, there's so much that appears. How does one know that sometimes you've done the right thing? Because sometimes you might not put a space where it's necessary. For example, the first time I did pip install as one word. Does it continue working the same?
Let's try that here. Let's type in pip install without a space in between.
Okay, pip install.
Space, and we'll already include the next package. It's called netCDF CDF, and then the number 4. This is a type of file format. And we can push enter.
Mm.
So in this case, we do get a message that it's saying that at least the terminal does not recognize this command pip install.
Okay.
So depending on what we do incorrectly, the terminal may give us helpful or less helpful messages.
You'll just know something is not right because things are not moving.
But sometimes it will give helpful messages and sometimes messages that we have to unpack a little bit more. But
Okay.
in this case, at least we know that pip install is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you just push the up arrow on your keyboard,
Okay.
and then go back and just create a space between pip and install.
So I just move with my cursor now.
Moving with the cursor won't work. Or moving with the mouse won't work. We just have to go
Okay.
backwards with the keyboard.
Okay. So my arrow keys.
Arrow keys, yeah.
Okay. So space.
And then enter.
So one can also now, instead of moving with the cursor, use your arrow keys to kind of operate.
In the terminal, I would recommend only working with the arrow keys to move back and forth.
Okay.
And moving with the mouse or the cursor won't work properly. Let's install one more package before a package that's a little bit more challenging to install. It is called pandas.
So you powered
Pandas, like
pandas.
the bear.
Okay. So pip
Perfect.
install.
Perfect. And then pandas, Pandas.
Okay.
This facilitates creating and working with and manipulating generally data structures or useful for data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, while this is finishing, we can already go look, assuming this will work, go to the browser again.
Question, you said when this is finishing. So at the moment it's not finished. How do you know if it's finished or not finished?
I guess the cursor at the bottom left is blinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it says installing collected packages. Oh, right, so now it's
Mm.
given us a message, successfully installed.
Oh, okay. Is it that when it continues blinking, it's still processing?
Well, now it's just waiting for us to give input. When we
Okay.
see this, the name of the location where we're at, which is currently C users user, then we know that the terminal is ready for us to put input again. So it has finished what it was previously working on.
Okay. So it's like someone knocking at the door.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Inviting us to input.
Okay.
If we go back to the browser, we're going to install something called GDAL, but GDAL won't work immediately with this pip install. We're going to have to first download something called a wheel. We'll actually download this package onto our computer and then install it with pip install.
Mm-hmm.
Let's search for GDAL, G-D-A-L.
GDEL.
G-D-A-L.
GDAL.
Yeah. Space, Windows, space, binaries. And let's type space, Christopher. C-H-R-I-S-T-O-P-H, perfect E-R.
Mm-hmm.
And enter. Let's go to this first page, Christoph Goldke. Let's click this third link, Geospatial Library Wheels for Python on Windows.
So Mikhail, what does this, just to refresh, like what does this wheels do? Because we know like the Python is for the command and then the virtual. The other one was to create a virtual environment. So what is this one for?
So instead of when we download a package, we're actually, when we type pip install NumPy, the terminal is in fact finding the wheel and downloading it itself. In this case, it cannot find the GDAL wheel on its own. We're going to have to download the wheel ourselves and then tell the computer to download it into Python as a Python package. So basically,
So what is a wheel?
A wheel is the actual Python package for us to download into our computers or into the Python environment. So there would be a wheel for NumPy, there'd be a wheel for SciPy, but in those cases we didn't have to look for them. The pip install was able to find the wheel and install it itself.
The pip is almost like your compass or something. It's like the scouter.
Yeah, I guess that could be a way of looking at it. And in this next case, when we type pip install, we're actually going to point it to the location of where we download the wheel.
Okay.
Let's scroll down slightly. And let's click even a little bit more. And right here, there's this highlighted word release. Binary wheels for the following packages are included in the release. Can we click that button?
This, okay.
Yeah, click that text. We scroll down, and now we're looking for GDAL. Great. And we are using Python 3.11, which we downloaded. We downloaded 3.11.4. So we're looking for, GDAL. Then we're looking for 3.11. You see here that there's 3.10, 3.12. So we're looking for 3.11. And generally on a Windows, we're using an AMD 64 chip architecture.
So
Exactly.
in this case, will be this first one.
Exactly. So we're using the 64-bit, the AMD 64. The one just below it is ARM64. ARM chip infrastructure is what's in the new M1, M2 chips of Macintosh, as well as what's in most smartphones. And now just in very select Windows, perhaps Windows computers, perhaps more and more. But generally, we will be using the AMD 64. And since we have downloaded Python 3.11, this is the exact GDAL wheel we want to download.
Okay, so AMD 64 wheel.
Yeah, 3.11, yes. And now let's go into the folder where this wheel downloaded. We'll click when it's finished, we'll click the folder on the right.
Okay, so the folder on my left.
No, it looks like it might be still downloading.
Yeah.
Although it says done.
Done. Yeah. Opening when complete. So I think it's still moving.
Yeah, it won't open properly, but actually we could go to, let's just wait to see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe let's go to show all downloads.
Okay, so let me my downloads.
Or we can go right here, sure. So we go to downloads, okay, perfect. We don't click on it, or nothing will happen if we click on it.
Okay.
Let's go to the address bar of this folder. So just a little bit above.
Just a little above.
Right here in the ad. Perfect. You click this, perfect. Now type in CMD.
CMD.
And then enter. Okay, this opens up a command prompt in the folder we typed CMD into the address bar for. Before we download, we're going to use pip install in this folder, but first let's activate our virtual environment. Because if we look to the very left, where it says C users user downloads, it doesn't say in round brackets cwatm. To activate our virtual environment, let's type in as one word, work on. WORKON. and then space, then the name of our virtual environment, which in this case is cwatm. Enter. Perfect. Now let's type in pip space install. Now space, type in GDAL, GDAL. And then let's push the tab button.
The tab.
And it will complete. One could just copy the name of the whole file we downloaded, but tab will complete it looking in the folder for whatever starts with GDAL. So now, rather than before we just type pip install, the name of the package, we're saying pip install and pointing directly to the wheel we want to download as a Python package. And let's push enter. Great. Let's just make sure everything worked. Can we type in Python?
Python.
Yes. Enter. Okay, we'll type in from space OSGEO space just actually a space bar.
Okay. So OSGEO space.
Yeah. Import space GDAL, GDAL. And then enter. Sometimes GDAL can be challenging to install, but if this command works, it means GDAL has installed correctly within our virtual environment.
So question, we are doing this because we couldn't open the downloaded file.
We can open it, we just don't have a program to open. The idea is not to open it, but just to install it. So the pip install took that wheel and unpacked it and installed it as a package within our virtual environment.
Okay.
Right, so we have downloaded Python, created a virtual environment, and downloaded the packages NumPy, SciPy, pandas, netCDF4, and finally GDAL. Let's continue next time.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephanie.
But thank you. I feel almost like a programmer.
You are.
Thank you for being a good teacher.
Thank you for learning with me.